Man, sometimes I feel like we could just have a 24-hour continuous stream of transfer portal things where we get updates on where players are going, the following schools that they heard from. We got a list out for Lathan Sommerville, the 6'8" center, 6'9", depending on who you ask or maybe what day you take his height. Had a solid freshman season for Rutgers. Big man who averaged around 8 points, around 5 rebounds. Has a little bit of offensive skill. Maybe needs to take a step on the defensive end, but he has a list of schools that have reached out per his agent, Ryan Murphy. The list of the schools goes Michigan, Ohio State, Tennessee, Washington, Cincinnati, Butler, Oklahoma State, USC, and Texas A&M. So wide variety of schools there. Some Big Ten schools still in there. If he wants to get his get back on Peichel and the gang, he has his chance to do that. Some schools that maybe I look at and I see his style fitting more. Some other schools where I look at and I'm like, Lathan Somerville doesn't strike me as a player that would play at that school. So, Dion, I'll throw it to you first. What do you take from this initial list of schools that he's received interest from?
Money.
The money, yeah, the
Uh,
bag.
my guy's trying to get a bag. I mean, anytime Washington's involved in anything, you're trying to get a bag. And then you toss USC in there and you're like trying to get a bag from these schools. So I definitely lean money. Kind of surprised Illinois isn't involved I mean, in some capacity, given he's from Peoria.
Yeah,
But I mean, they have a ton of bigs already, so that's probably what it is. He feels like he would have a lot of fun in LA.
you think it'd be nice? I could honestly, you made a good shout there. Like USC, Washington. Like Washington just paid Great Oxford $2 million. They can pay, you know. Below average Asabor, probably something else like that. I look the offensive skill set is there, right? So like you're looking at some of these teams, like he doesn't get on the floor for Rick Barnes in Tennessee. There's some other team, Texas A&M. I saw that they reached out to him as well. How do you feel about that? Because he is good on the glass, but like
Well,
you look at A&M, they're just like a heavy like rebound defensive intensity team on top of that.
A&M makes some sense. Tennessee, though, I mean, the Kentucky thing, like or excuse me, like the Zakai Ziegler stuff. Like, what if all that's real?
I mean, that could be semi-real. I don't for some reason whenever I see a player like Lathan Somerville, I see Butler on the list and I'm like, okay, yeah, he's a bulldog. Like he'll be in Hinkle, he'll play maybe honestly, I do think that and this could change given how the Big East operates, but like his type of player, like the 6'9" center skilled, it kind like you see a lot of those guys in the Big East. So like maybe that's something that they can replicate. Um and he can play kind of closer to home, obviously being from Illinois, playing Indiana. So it's a very interesting list. How do you feel about Michigan being on this list? I feel like I don't know Greg's answer, but so far Michigan's been on everybody's list. They are contacting everybody.
So G sent me a text yesterday with like one short we're gonna do today. It's a guy who has Michigan at the top of their list, or it wasn't even about Michigan. It was just a guy. Michigan was at the top of his list, and I go, "Gee, is Michigan just gonna be on every list? Like I, every list I see has Michigan at the top." So I mean, shout out Dusty. I mean, he's staying busy in March. It's not like he has anything better to do tomorrow night, but he's making sure he's staying busy. So like. He's on every list. It doesn't shock me to see him on his list. What I will say about all of it, um, that $40 million influx the football team got, clearly the basketball team got a little bit too. And whether they're not going to land all these guys because they're on 50 lists. There's only 12 or 15 roster spots, so they're going to have to pick and choose some. But clearly they got an influx and they're not afraid to spend it. And I think Michigan being on the list lends a little bit to that USC Washington stuff where it's like, hey, I'm gonna get a bag from wherever I go. And if you can match it, that's sick. If you can't, that's fine. Somebody will pay me. And especially I'm assuming he's the one that says he's 6'9" and everyone else says he's 6'8", right?
Yeah, I think he's 6'9". I think people try to bump him to like 6'10". He's not 6'10", but he's also not 6'8". So you like split the difference.
Yeah.
I also saw a couple shouts for, and once again, not a geography podcast. Where's Bradley located? Bradley University.
No clue, but people hated that I asked you where Kansas was yesterday.
Yeah, well, that's on them. I mean, that's what you get with this program if you're going to tune in. Oh, Bradley is in Peoria.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, so maybe if he wants to, actually, you know what? You know why they're doing this shout? I was reading this on his profile the other day. His pops played at Bradley too.
Got it.
Pops played at Bradley, could go play in the Missouri Valley. I could see him being really good in that conference, but also I don't know if one, Bradley can give him the money he wants because it seems like he's trying to get himself a bag here. But look, maybe on the bright side of it, he's trying to have a interest in schools that play defense so that maybe he can learn how to play defense. But also, if you can't play defense under Steve Peichel, then do you really want to play defense?
I just know if he chooses Bradley over USC, I'm out. That's one of the poorest decision makers in the
What
history.
if he's a Peoria legend?
One of the poorest decision makers in the history of decision
You ever
making.
been to Peoria?
No,
Yeah,
I've been to Illinois once. Went to Chicago. We made a wrong turn last time I've been to Illinois.
I respect that. Wrong turns in Chicago can usually end up very, very bad. But it's an interesting list. I'll be interested to see how this settles down and narrows down. I'm gonna stay on the same mindset you're on though. I feel like he's gonna make his way to the West Coast.
Yeah. He seemed like you played in New York with Dylan and Ace. You like attention and you like money. Enjoy LA.
Yeah, he'll make a great Washington Husky. But we'll keep following Lathan Somerville's recruitment. I'm sure in the next 12 hours he'll cut that list and or add teams because that's what the transfer portal is. But we'll be interested to see what his next stop will be. It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.